Well, it's John Terry with Vision Advisors. I want to say thanks for joining me today for something I'm really excited about. Every once in a while, a product comes across our desk that we really think is innovative and unique and something you as a financial service professional need to pay attention to. Today is one of those days. But before I introduce Jeff Barnes, that many of you already know, I want to take just a minute and I want to share some tidbits. And Jeff, I don't even know if you've seen this yet or not. There was a research paper that was just put out by Boston College's Center for Retirement Research. It came out today, and here's what it says. As a result of the pandemic, a study that was done in Canada found that 70% of Canadians between the ages of 50 and 69 are much less likely to seek the services of a nursing home post-pandemic. 1 in 4 said they are saving more money and looking for other ways to fund to be able to finance care at home for as long as possible. And the vast majority of Canadians said they preferred more government subsidies to pay for home care and assisted care and other levels of service other than a nursing home, even if it required that they pay more taxes. Now, you may say, John, that's a Canadian deal. What does that matter? Well, here's what I can tell you. Given the broad similarities between the Canadian populace and the US populace in terms of how we are dealing with this aging crisis, what conversations we're hearing around the tables in Canada, those same conversations are happening here in the United States. And a follow-up study that Boston College is going to be doing, looking at these same conversations in America, I'm pretty confident, knowing what I already know from seeing other studies, we're going to see something very similar, that people are concerned about long-term care. They had a wake-up call during COVID around all of the issues of long-term care, estate planning, longevity planning, and all those other issues, and they're trying to figure out how to pay for this. Now, we're excited today to have Equitrust with us, and our good friend Jeff Barnes is here, and he's going to share with you a new and innovative solution, an FIA chassis that brings you true long-term care benefits, and those that already are dealing with some illnesses or injuries may still be able to qualify. Do I have your attention? If so, you need to lean in, and if not, you need to wake up and pay attention, because this is a unique opportunity to go have a conversation nobody else is having with your clients, customers, and prospects. And with that, Jeff, I want to say thanks for joining us. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And if I get super excited and jump right in, excuse me, but this is going to be an awesome product and looking forward to going through this presentation with you.
Great. Thank you, John, so much. It's great to be on the call with you. And we certainly appreciate the partnership that we've had over the years. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to shut this video off. There's no need for you guys to look at me while I go through this, but yeah, we're very excited. We're kicking the door down with this product and in this space, the asset-based long-term care annuity space. And John and I were talking a little bit before we came on here. Over at Equitrust, we're not ones we don't crank new products out left and right, but we really see a huge need for something like this. And really, I want to kind of start with the why, behind this product for Equitrust. Really, our why is we want to help people age in place. We want to help them age at home. Nobody wants to go to a nursing home. John, you hit those statistics there in Canada, and I know that is true over here in the US as well. In fact, I'll share a personal story. I kind of chuckle when I tell people about this. My dad did not want to go into a nursing home. He did not. In fact, God bless him, he got kicked out of 2 nursing homes. And I got that phone call twice. And the second time it was, you've got 24 hours to figure this out. And, he got pretty ornery towards the end, and he was a very independent man. He did not like people telling him what to do. So he got kicked out of 2 of them. So, these kind of things, they could be challenging when things go right. But they're even more tough when things don't go well. Before I get into the next slide, somehow I apologize. Our cat got in here and he's meowing to let him out. So I apologize, John. I'm going to just real quick let him out so he doesn't continue to meow through this call. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, Jeff, I'll just kind of add on what you're talking about. One of the things that excites me about this product is the fact that it is an asset-based long-term care solution, meaning if your clients invest money in this solution and they don't experience a long-term care event, they haven't thrown their money away. They still have an asset that they can utilize for other needs. And Jeff's going to cover that as he goes along as well. So Jeff, I'll flip it back to you.
Great. Yeah, great point. Yeah, so our why again is to keep people in place, help them age in place, keep them out of the nursing home. But we've gone a step further with this. We also want to help them age healthier. We want to help them successfully age. And I'm going to be sharing with you a wellness program that we have in conjunction with this product where, we're not just saying, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, there's a really big problem, big problem. We've got a really nice product for you. Here you go. Good luck. Hope it works out for you. No, with this wellness program, we're going to be walking right alongside the client and try to help them age healthier and help them age in place. And I will echo what John just said. When I look at the products that are currently out there in this space, there's some good products. We have a lot of respect for the companies that are out there today. We have a lot of respect for the products that are out there. But it seems like the annuity part is kind of weak. It's like, yeah, there's some great LTC benefits, but the annuity part it's a little watered down. And one of the things we're trying to do with this combination is make sure that the annuity can stand on its own feet. So I think it makes sense before we get into the product to share with you where we're going to be different. And I think there is a benefit for Equitrust to come to the party late. It's given us a chance to kind of look at the current products that are out there and assess where there might be some gaps and, come in with something a little different. And we'll start with the name. We felt like we're doing something very different here. We didn't want to put another product out there that had care in the name, right? We felt like this is something special. It should have a special name. We didn't want it to just kind of get muddied in there with the other care products. So as you can tell, we're calling it Bridge, and we're really kind of trying to help bridge that gap for the client with their long-term care needs. But look at where we're going to be different. First of all, and I'd already kind of alluded to it, we're going to have a wellness program. And towards the end, I'm going to get into the details on how that wellness program works. But I do want to let you know that the client's going to have the ability to earn LTC benefit credits by participating in the wellness program. Simplified underwriting, I'm going to go into the details of that. With guaranteed approval, that's not a typo, okay? Guaranteed approval. So we're going to have a GI element to the underwriting. We felt like it would be good if we had indemnity claim process. We'll be the only carrier in this space, asset-based long-term care annuity space, that does indemnity claims in the process. We also felt like it would be important for the client to be able to customize the amount of LTC benefit that they get. One size fits none. And then we felt like, we got to put an FIA chassis on here. We have to have the annuity have some oomph to it. The products that are out there today, and again, we have a lot of respect for them, but the annuity part tends to be maybe a little on the weaker side. We'll be the only one in this space that offers flexible premiums. And then we're going to be completely digital in this process. So e-app is going to be the only way to write bridge. And we've got a microsite, and that's one call to action that you'll want to reach out to John and his team. Call to action when you get off of this call is reach out to them and ask them to send you the link to our microsite, where you'll be able to start looking at all the marketing materials, as well as a calculator where you can start to play around with the numbers. The illustration software is not done yet. We're still in what we're calling the soft launch. So the illustration software won't be ready until probably around the 15th or a little bit after that. But you will be able to play around with the calculator. So one of the call to actions is to reach out to John and his team to get that microsite, so you can start digging into more of the details around the product. So before we get into how the product is designed, and John had mentioned earlier that things are pretty unique with what we're doing, I thought it would make sense first to give you an idea of how the underwriting works. This is going to be very different. So we've teamed up with a company called Assured Allies. They're based out of Boston and Tel Aviv. They are going to be doing the underwriting on this product, as well as the wellness program. And I'll talk about the wellness program more towards the end. So the idea behind the underwriting is we want to make it client-centric. We want to make it low friction. It will be done by video. It's going to be done by video. And so iPhone, tablet, laptop, whatever device that has a camera is what you're going to want to use. We encourage the advisor to be with the client, maybe do a little field underwriting initially, but to be with the client to work through the process. And you can schedule a time to do the underwriting, or you can just call in and set it up. You can do the underwriting before you do an app. I think that probably makes most sense. I think a lot of people would start out by, maybe running the calculator, run an illustration, see how the numbers look, do the video underwriting, and then take an app. But you can do whatever order that you want. So it is a video underwriting process. But here's the thing. There is no third-party source for medical information. And part of the reason that we're doing it by video is that we're going to be able to eliminate APSs. There will be no APSs, no prescription checks. There's none of that. We got to reach out to your doctor's office and we'll let you know in a couple of days, or maybe in a week or in 2 weeks. There's none of that third-party source for medical information. The video underwriting is going to take around 20-25 minutes. And you will get a decision right there on the spot. And there is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, a GI element to the underwriting. So no one gets turned down. No one gets turned down from underwriting. There is no version of a wasted appointment. There is no advisor walking away saying, I can't believe I didn't place my client in this bridge product. Nobody gets turned down. So as you can see on that second bullet point, there are 3 underwriting classes. There's secure, standard, and preferred. Preferred is not that mystical unicorn that nobody can qualify for. We anticipate probably 60% of people that go through underwriting would get preferred. Secure is, that minimum underwriting class. The client does have the ability to bypass underwriting if they want. If they want, there's a box they can mark that says, I don't want to do the underwriting. If they elect that, then of course they would go in at the secure underwriting class. And of course, that would be the lowest amount of LTC benefit that they would get, but they have the ability to bypass underwriting if they wish. So let me kind of run through a few of the examples of what we're doing with the underwriting. So the first three questions, are you currently in a nursing home or assisted living facility? Are you currently using a wheelchair or a scooter? Currently, do you need help with one out of your ADLs? If they answer yes to one of those first three questions, then that would automatically put them at the secure underwriting class. If they don't answer yes to those first three questions, then we also ask them, are you currently on Social Security disability? And then we've got a few medical questions that we'll ask them. We've got some around circulatory, like in the last 5 years, have you had a heart attack? In the last 5 years, have you had a stent put in? We have a few questions around cancer. In the last 5 years, have you been diagnosed with cancer? So we have, those are the questions that we're going to ask. Then we have some cognitive elements. So we have word recall. We'll give them 5 words. Later on, we'll ask them how many of those can they recall. We'll ask them to do their ABCs from A to J. We'll ask them to count from 1 to 10. And then we have a physical element where we will ask them in a sitting position. And again, this is a video underwriting process. We'll ask them to stand up and sit down. And then we'll ask them to stand and put one foot in front of the other for balance. So that's the most that the underwriting process entails. So again, very client-centric, very low friction. Again, no third-party data sourcing where somebody's going to have to start digging through APSs and medical records. Probably 20 to 25 minutes on average, and they'll get an underwriting decision right there on the spot. But again, I know I've said it probably 3 times, nobody gets declined because of underwriting. So let's take a look at the product. I would say out of all of our current FIAs, this is probably the closest to our market value indexed annuity, if you're familiar with that one. As you can see there, we'll issue between the ages of 55 and 80. We do have a higher minimum premium for a product like this. So we do need 50,000. This would be non-qualified only. I think the opportunity, there's going to be a lot of opportunities with your existing client base, your existing annuity book of business, where you can take a look and see where they're at with what they have and see if you can put them in a much better position. So I think your existing annuity book of business is going to be a huge opportunity here. We will take flexible premium. We'll be the only carrier in this space that does flexible premium. 10-year chassis, 10% penalty-free withdrawals. And then the indices that you're used to seeing from Equitrust, the good old regular S&P 500. We've got our 2 vol controls, which is the S&P Mark V ER, and then of course our Barclays Focus 50. This product, it's going to be a tougher sale, right? So we felt like we needed to pay a little better commission. So the street commission comes in at 8%. That's up to age 75, and then 5.5 from 76 to 80. And since I'm talking about commissions, I do want to share with you, we will be running a commission special. We want to come out with a big bang on this product. So for business that comes in through the first quarter of next year, it will have a 1% commission special on it as well. So that's apps received up through March 31st of 2023. So here's where rates are looking at today. However, we officially launched on November the 15th. And, as you know, the rate environment continues to get better and better. So who knows? who knows where we might be at by the time we actually launch, but very competitive, fixed bucket at 3.5, a point-to-point cap on the S&P at 7, a 30 point-to-point par. I won't read them all to you. You can see where those come in at. And then, of course, you can see where the illustrated rates are for each of those accounts as well. But again, when we looked at this space, we felt like the annuity needed to have a little more oomph to it. And that's why we went down the road of an FIA chassis. So let's talk a little bit about the long-term care rider. And so I want to talk, because this is different. It's different than what most people are used to seeing. If you write regular life insurance, UL type of insurance, this will look very familiar to you. And it also kind of has a little bit of an element to it that looks a lot like an income rider on an annuity. But also I'm going to want to touch on, there's a lot of guarantees that we've built in to the product as well. So the long-term care rider automatically comes with the annuity. And we develop what we call an LTC benefit base. And the benefit base is going to be up to a maximum percentage of what the client's premium is. So it's a percentage of their premium, and it's what we call the coverage ratio. And the coverage ratio is going to be determined based on the client's age and then the underwriting class that they come in at. The most coverage that we'll put on somebody is whatever premium in the first year gets them to $1 million of that initial benefit base. So the benefit base, I think of that a lot like an income rider on a normal annuity. And just to kind of give you an idea of the range of coverage based on the underwriting class. So secure, somebody could elect anywhere from 100% and get up to 135%, depending on their age. So that would be for somebody that if they wanted to bypass underwriting, they could bypass underwriting. Standard underwriting class, they could elect anywhere from 100 up to 200%, depending on their age. And then the preferred underwriting class, anywhere from 100 up to 285. So let me drill down on that a little bit. So let's assume you've got a 65-year-old. So they're 65 years old at the time of issue. If they come in at the secure underwriting class, a 65-year-old would get 125% coverage ratio. So we would take their premium and increase it by 125% for their LTC benefit. That's not bad considering they could bypass underwriting if they wanted to. A 65-year-old that comes in at standard underwriting class, they could get a maximum of 190% of coverage ratio, almost 2 times. And then somebody coming in at preferred that's 65 years old, they could get the maximum coverage of 275% coverage. So we would take their premium and increase it by 275%. But that's not all that they get. We're going to take that coverage and then it's going to grow at 2% every year for up to 20 years, or until they go on claim, if they go on claim earlier than 20 years. So we take their money, we increase it by their coverage ratio, and then that earns 2% every year for 20 years, again, or until they go on claim. Now we're taking the approach, and again, if you write life insurance, you're going to be very familiar with this. We take the approach of net amount at risk. And the net amount at risk is looking at their LTC benefit base minus the accumulation value. That's what the company's on the hook for. And because we are guaranteeing underwriting, because we would allow somebody to bypass underwriting as a way to protect Equitrust, we do have a 4-year vesting schedule on the net amount at risk. So 20, 40, 60, 80, the first day of the 5th year, they are now at 100% vesting on the net amount at risk. So again, there's a vesting schedule early on, and that's a way to help protect Equitrust because we have guaranteed underwriting, guaranteed issue, and somebody could actually bypass underwriting if they want to. The benefit is going to pay for 5 years over 60 months. So basically, we're taking the net amount at risk times the vesting schedule. And if they get into the 5th year, that vesting schedule is going to be 100% plus the accumulation value and divide that by 60 months. That's how we're going to come up with their LTC benefit. And then as far as going on claim, it's pretty standard compared to what's out there, except for one big difference. So to go on claim, a client can't be able to perform 2 out of their 6 ADLs, or they have severe cognitive impairment. So dementia, Alzheimer's. They do need certification from a doctor that they're in that state. But where we're going to be different is we are going to have indemnity-based claims. So the client does not have to turn in receipts. What that means to the client is it's going to create more flexibility. This is PPA compliant, Pension Protection Act. We all know about the benefits from a tax standpoint being PPA compliant. This product, because of the LTC element to it, is PPA compliant. So the benefits are going to be tax-free up to the IRS per diem, and it would be tax-free in excess of the per diem with documentation to the IRS. There is going to be a 90-day elimination period when they go on claim. So the flexibility with the indemnity-based, we were talking about that internally here at Equitrust. One of the goals, the why behind our product, we want to help people age in place. John talked about the statistics that he came across in Canada. We want to have people age in place. One thing somebody might need would be a ramp built in their home, a ramp to get in and out of their home. Well, by being an indemnity-based product, it's going to give them flexibility to pay for things like that they might not be able to otherwise. So that was just one example that we talked about internally over here at Equitrust. So now I want to talk about the wellness program, because remember I said that we're doing more than just saying, hey, there's a big problem. Here's a really nice product. Good luck. Hope it works out for you. We'll see you later when it's time for you to file a claim. So we've teamed up with a company called Assured Allies. And as I mentioned before, they're based out of Boston and Tel Aviv, and they are a data, technology, and science company. And they are doing the underwriting for us, that video underwriting, but they also have created the wellness program for us. And they are currently already using a wellness program. They've been working with 5 of the largest LTC companies that are out there that have written traditional long-term care insurance. And they've developed wellness program, it's called Never Stop, for those companies that have written traditional long-term care that are, quite honestly, they're trying to stop the bleeding. So they've developed these wellness programs to help clients age healthier and age more successfully, and hopefully kind of change the trajectory of aging. And the wellness program is automatically included in this bridge product. There is a cost for it. It does cost the client $100 per year to be in the program. It's totally optional. The client can decide that they don't want the program, and that's fine. We won't put it on and we won't charge them. However, what they're going to be able to do is once they buy Bridge, there will be a website for Assured Allies where they can go in, set up a password, and they can work with an ally to put together an aging map, to kind of take a look on the website at some of the things that they want to work on, ways to prevent illnesses, ways to treat current illnesses, and ways to adapt in order to stay at home. One of the statistics that came out early on when we were on one of the phone calls with Assured Allies, they shared with me, and this really jumped out at me. They talked about how people, sometimes they'll have hearing loss and they'll let it go untreated. Somebody that has hearing loss that goes untreated has an 8 to 10% better chance of developing dementia. I'd never heard of that before. So they work with the client to develop a game plan, an aging map to help prevent illnesses, make sure that they're doing things as simply as, are you going to your annual checkup? You know, things like that can go a long way. Are we treating things that are going on right now? Maybe it's sleep apnea, or maybe it's hearing loss. And then what are some ways that we can help them adapt and stay at home? So they get on that website, they set it up with their password, they get teamed up with an ally to put a game plan together. And then they kind of go through different things. And it's almost like you load up your shopping cart on Amazon. You look at some of the things that you want to work on. Maybe it's staying sharp, hearing better, sleeping better, preventative care, social connections can be a big thing. And then, you know, just staying active. At nowhere in this program are they going to ask somebody to train for a marathon, but maybe they're signed up for silver sneakers. Maybe they're already doing something from an exercise standpoint that they can implement into and already get credit for being in the wellness program. But one of the things that two of the things that the program's trying to do, it's trying to help the client age healthier, age more successfully, keep them out of the nursing home, but also if they participate in the program, they have the ability to earn credits to the long-term care benefit. So every 2 years, if they're following the program, and they can be as involved as much or as little as they want, every 2 years, they have the ability to get credits towards the LTC benefit base that the product offers. Those credits are locked in every 2 years, so we can't take those away. So let's say they're involved in the program for 4 years, they get credits twice, and then they decide, you know what, this isn't for me. I want to opt out of the program. We won't charge them the $100 anymore, but the credits that they earned are not taken away. They're locked in. So I think it will help if we kind of tie this all up with a bow by going over a case study, right? Good old case study. So we've got David, he's 65. He puts in 250,000. He comes in at the preferred underwriting class. He decides, I want the most coverage that I can get. So based on his age and at preferred, his coverage ratio is 275%. So we take his 250 and we immediately, for the LTC benefit base, we turn it into 687.5. We check in on him 10 years later. And remember, that benefit base then starts growing at 2% every year, very similar to an income rider that we're all very familiar with in the annuity space. So 10 years into it, he needs to go on claim. So we've taken that benefit base, we've grown it at 2%. Now it's up to 838. He chose to participate in the Never Stop Wellness Program. He worked on some hearing loss. He worked on better sleep, and he worked on some ways to reduce his stress. So through the wellness program, he got an additional $57,000 added to his benefit base. So that got him up to, and remember, he put $250,000 in here. We've got the benefit base up to $894,000, $950,000. And over 60 months, that would generate almost $15,000 for him in LTC benefits. One last slide I want to share with you. And again, we thought it was important to be able to provide some flexibility on the amount of coverage that somebody might want. So looking at David at age 65, putting in $250,000, we're showing you the maximum LTC benefit, that dark blue thick line, that's $275,000. It starts out slanted because of the vesting schedule over the first 4 years, but it's also growing at the 2% roll-up rate. And then he's also getting credits every 2 years for participating in the wellness program. So the thick dark blue line is his maximum LTC benefit, which means the cost, because there's a cost for the rider fee or for the benefit. That cost is going to be the highest because he went for the most LTC coverage he could get. So the thin dark blue line shows his accumulation value for the annuity. And it's growing out of these three scenarios. It's growing the least because it has the most cost because he went for the most coverage. The growth element on this chart is assuming that 7% point-to-point cap on the S&P, which has an illustrated rate of 5.65, or I'm sorry, 5.56. So it's not like a very outrageous, like back-tested number. The light blue one is if he decided, you know what, I want something kind of in the middle. So that's showing at 200% coverage ratio. Again, vesting, it's growing at the 2%. He's getting the credits from the wellness program. But then you'll see that the annuity is performing a little better because the costs are less because he didn't go for the maximum coverage. This, I think, would be for an advisor that's going to sell more off of the annuity that just happens to have some good LTC benefit to it. We will have the ability with the illustration software eventually where you could do a solve for where I want my annuity to pay for my LTC benefits. So I want my annuity still to do fairly well, but I want some decent LTC benefits. And then the bright green line would be if David selected the least amount of LTC coverage. And in that scenario, he's more about the annuity and less about the LTC coverage. So here, he's getting the least amount of coverage, but his annuity is performing much better. And there could be a point in time where, because we go off of net amount at risk to determine the cost of the rider, where he could have just free LTC coverage because the annuity is growing so well. If the annuity outperforms the LTC benefit, then the cost of the rider goes away because the cost is based off of net amount at risk. So rather than us tell the client, here's the coverage you get, we want the client to tell us, here's the coverage that I would like to see. Last slide before I turn it back over to John. These are the states where the product has been approved with the check mark next to it. We're getting, I wouldn't say daily, but we're getting a lot of states approved along the way. Because of the LTC benefit element to the product, we were not able to file this through the compact states. Normally, when you file it through the compact, you immediately get like 30 states approved. We've had to approach these state by state by state, but we were very pleased to see that Florida got approved. We're very pleased to see that Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, Georgia is another big one. So we'll continue to update this as we get more and more states approved. California is an important one. And while we don't have it in California yet, California was very quick to open up the dialogue. Normally California is very slow, but I think because this has an LTC benefit to it, California sees the importance. And so we were very pleased to see how quickly the dialogue has been with California. So here's where we're sitting today with the states, and obviously more and more will be approved here over the next few weeks. So, John, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Excellent. Well, Jeff, I want to say thank you for your time and taking the opportunity to walk through this unique opportunity. For those of you that are on this call live, or for those of you that are going to be watching this on tape delay, your call to action is to reach out to us here at Vision Advisors. Our number is 1-800-505-8489. Let me give you that number again, 1-800-505-8489. Press 0 to be connected with any team member to be able to request access to the Equitrust microsite, where you can have an opportunity to begin to learn more about this unique opportunity. Now, Jeff, when is the official launch date? When can they actually start taking applications?
Yeah, so the 15th of November.
That's what I thought. Yep, November 15th. So I'll make sure that date had not changed. So November 15th, we're just about a week away from the opportunity to begin to take applications and actually submit business to the carrier. So you've got a week to get whatever product training is required, get your head around the uniqueness of this product, but reach out to us here at Vision Advisors, 1-800-505-8489, or you can email us, John, John, at visionadvisorsinc.com, or any of the team members. You'll find all of our email addresses on our website, visionadvisorsinc.com. And with that, I want to say thanks for joining us and have a great day.